Hello, good evening, and welcome to Front Row Racing on this Thursday night as we get ready for round 16 Malaysia on F1 2016 in the Front Row Racing World Series. Joining me in the commentary box today is going to be TempFear once he's finished off his dinner, and I've got Arazor21 in the commentary box with me again today. So Tony, you've had a bit of experience of Malaysia last night, and we're back at Malaysia today for the World Series. And obviously, you're going to want to see rain. There's no doubt about that. You absolutely love rain. But what are you expecting from the race today?
Yeah, it's good to be back once again here, and of course I want it to rain, but yeah, I don't like to drive in rain, but it's fun to watch, and when others try to drive. But yeah, I expect different strategies with tires, and hopefully a lot of action going on track, so we don't have to waffle about something you don't want to hear.
Exactly. Talking about things you might not want to hear, I do have a question of the day for today, and I haven't told any of my co-commentators what that question of the day is, so it'll be interested to see how they get on with it when I put it out there. I'm just trying to get the links posted everywhere they need to be, and in a few moments' time I will get on to the drivers that are in the lobby today, and also race results from last time out, and also the driver standings and the constructor standings for the Front Row Racing World Series, which I tell you what is hotting up quite a lot at the moment in the World Series, and a big part of that is actually because of what happened last time out. I mean, both of the Mercedes drivers, they have been having some bad luck out there on track this season on occasion, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe not as much as you. The TempFear has now joined us, but yeah, maybe not as much as you. But I'm going to get onto that in a few moments. But seeing as you are back with us, Temp, I'm just going to quickly run through the teams and drivers for the viewers, and then if you can go through the the last race result for us. So, on track today in the petrol pumpers Mercedes, we have Hindle and Konzo fighting it out for the championship at the moment. And then in the old crash test dummies Ferrari, we've got Jason and Dave the Harp. In the censored Williams, we have Kenai Ander and Garfield. Both of those drivers will be looking for a good result today. In the New Age Outlaws Red Bull, we have Rickster and MX Everglow. In the Hey Ho Double Toe Force India, we have Farfba and RDB, although I think Farfba may have just dropped out of the lobby. If somebody could send him another invite, please. In the Wrong Tyres Renault, we have SBL Mali, Kekech and Valdemar. Both drivers locked out the grid in the front row of the grid in Singapore. We'll see how they get on here today. In the $1 Million Herbie Tolero Rosso, we've got Millstar and Ant69. In the mental age of 10 McLaren Honda, we've got Caribbean Crush in as a reserve driver for Front Row Racing GP, who's recovering from an arm operation, and Calzo 210, the regular teammate in the McLaren. And then in the Yankenlimy Manor, we've got Curly Whirly in as a reserve driver. He's been doing well in the reserve races. And then we have Lefty Hardtail, who is in one hell of a fight in the standings. And today we don't have a rookie driver. We did have one, but unfortunately he was unavailable at the last moment. So, Temp, I just wondered if you could run us a little bit through the last race results from Singapore.
Yeah, will do. It's a bit of an interesting one, actually. Definitely didn't finish as it... Well, the results didn't finish as they were on the race day. But taking the victory is SBR Mali Kekech. Brilliant pace all race. Can't really fault the guy, to be fair. He performed very well. Calzo comes second. Moved up 3 places in his qualifying position on a 1-stop, I believe it was. And then we had third Caribbean Crush. I think Caribbean Crush was the reserve Ferrari in third. Also had a pretty decent race. Fourth was Konzo, so he had an up and down race to say at the least. Fifth was Valdemar. He had 25 seconds worth of penalties though, so that knocked him down a few positions. Sixth was Lefty Hardtail, like you say. He also had a penalty, but he's in a bit of a titanic battle with Front Race and GP. He finished behind him, so he had a good race. David Hart was seventh. GP was eighth, as I said, behind Lefty. Ninth was Ant69. He got 2 points. I just think that deserves a round of applause, boys. Genuinely, I do. No, he'll be happy with that. 2 points is his target. Garfield finishing 10th. He had 20 seconds worth of penalties, and then that was the last of the finishers. We had Farfback, Kane Leander, Millstars. I always say Millstars. It's Millstar. RDB and Rickstad did not finish. The Yankan Limey Reserve got disqualified. The big story was Hindle, who also got disqualified. And then MX Everglow and the admin's pick Rookitar did not start.
Yeah, so as we're just waiting for Farfbird to rejoin us back in the lobby then. As you said, the big story being that Hindle was disqualified. And, I feel for the guy, to be honest. He had footage of the race, but unfortunately FOM blocked it. And when he tried to get it rectified, he ended up with no footage whatsoever. So unfortunately, not having any event footage results in a disqualification, which for Hindle, devastating. For his teammate Konzo, fantastic, as far as he would have been concerned.
The standings is brilliant for us.
Yeah, it is. A little bit like the World Championship yesterday, there's some real battles going on in the Drivers' Championship standings. I will quickly run through those while we hold on a moment to see if Farfba's going to be able to get back in with us.
He's back in.
Okay, he's just not in his car yet. So once he's back in his car, we can send the drivers over to the racetrack. Okay, so the Drivers' Championship standings then after round 15. We've got Hindle leading the way on 205 points. Konzo, his teammate, on 204 points. Only 1 point between them. Mystic Joker's currently sat in third place on 138 points, but it looks like he's not going to be racing again this season, which means that the battle for fourth and fifth place at the moment between Lefty Hardtail and Front Row Racing GP is going to become the battle for third place. Lefty Hardtail on 102 points, Front Row Racing GP on 101, so only 1 point between them. But as we know, GP's not able to race today. Instead, he's being an engineer for the McLaren team. Behind those, we've got Rickster in 6th place on 69 points, and guess what? Only 1 point to the car behind him, and that's Jason in 7th place on 68 points. Then we've got a little bit of a gap. The FRR Admins Pick rookie car is on 39 points, and then we've got Ant69 on 37 points, Calzo on 36, SBL Mali Kekech on 34, Dave the Harp on 34, Farfba on 31 and Millstar on 28. So there's 6-7 cars there that are all fighting for potentially an 8th position that could become a 7th place. We've then got RDB in 15th at the moment on 23 points, Nyanda on 18 points and Valdemar on 16 points. So those three are fighting between themselves for extra spaces as well. Garfield, new to FRR, he's on 2 points, and MX Everglow unfortunately at the bottom on 0.
What's he doing?
I know. He's been very unlucky this season, as MX Everglow. He must be all those songs he sings to your TempFear. But I tell you what, if you thought that the Drivers' Championship there's a lot going on in the Drivers' Championship, and there's a lot of movement that could be had. In the constructors, it's a little bit slightly more clear cut. Petrol pumpers Mercedes, that's Hindle and Konzo, leading the way on 434 points. They've got a 194 point gap to Yankan Limey Manor in 2nd place. So Mercedes can't take the constructors title today, but if they do take maximum points today, they might be able to take it at the next event.
I think they can take it today.
No, there's 43 points, 25 plus 18 is the maximum available, and there's 250.
5 races left, isn't there?
6. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, it's 6 races, 250 points available. They're currently 194 ahead. So, maths, we all hate it. Arazor's the one that's still studying. Maybe he can check that out for us. We'll have it confirmed by the next event anyway. But in third place, we've got the Mental Age of 10 McLaren team. They're on 202 points. Get a good result today, they could find themselves fighting for the second place. In fourth, we've got Censored Williams on 152 points. And a little way behind them is the Wrong Tyres Renault on 128. 1 point behind them is the old Crash Test Dummies Ferrari, so definitely a fight between 5th and 6th place. It's also close between 7th and 9th. New Age Outlaws Red Bull on 70 points, $1 Million Herbie Toro Rosso on 65, while the Hey Ho Double Toe Force India on 55. So there's a lot of movement that could be had in the constructors as well. The FRR rookie Marabobo Haas car is at the bottom of the constructors on 39 points, and it's heavily raining. It almost looks like night time out there. Tony, Temp, what have you done to these guys?
Nothing. I didn't say nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can actually see the... Oh, is that thunder I could hear as well? Oh my goodness me. Well, we haven't got any pre-race comments from any of the drivers today, unfortunately, but I think if we had any off them right now, it would be, oh my God. Oh my God. But we need to have a quick look at the weather, though, because is it going to ease up at all? It doesn't look like it during qualifying. And in the race, though, it does look like it's going to be dry for the race. TempFear, okay, difficult situation for the drivers now. If it's going to be a dry race, they want a dry setup in the race. But will a dry setup work in these wet conditions?
Not as much as I'd like, probably. For me, though, I feel stick with your dry setup and maybe tweak the front wing a little bit for the weather, but I mean, like I said, the race is going to be dry all the way through, but I looked at it and got the points scored.
Yeah, well, it's
no good putting on all the downforce here. You're going to be like 2 mile an hour in a straight line come the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's weather for ducks at the moment, but you don't want to be a sitting duck when it does come to the race. Okay, I did say I've got a question of the day, and I also did say that I haven't told my co-commentators what it is, and I haven't, but I am going to hand it out there soon. But I was going to pop the camera on SPL Mali Kekech for a moment, because guys, in Singapore, I mean, Tony, I'll aim this sort of comment and question at you. In Singapore, we saw the Renault team lock out the front row of the grid, and we saw SPL Mali Kekech have one hell of a race and take the win. Could we see him do the same again here today? And just how impressive was his victory in Singapore?
Sure, he is fast driver, so he can do it again, but I think those Mercedes drivers have a bit more practice than the last race because of that, so I don't know, he can do it, but it might be more difficult than this thing.
It could be. I mean, we've seen the Mercedes drivers sort of not even be on the front row of the grid for the last few races. They've tended to go for a harder compound tyre in qualifying, but Temp, I mean, I'm just wondering whether the Mercedes drivers are going to hope that this session stays wet all the way through, because if it does, it totally opens up the tyre selection for the race. If this becomes dry, then obviously whatever dry tyre they use to qualify on is what they'll have to use for the race, and the Renault drivers tend to prefer the softer compound tyre.
Well, I'm very surprised to see we get anywhere near dry. Intermediate is looking like it's distant. So, yeah, I wouldn't even consider that, but yeah, it does open it up. I mean, I heard you mention it in one of the reserve races last week. You don't like the fact that there's 3 tyre contacts.
Sorry, SPL Mali Kekech heading into turn 1 to start his flying lap, and there was a Ferrari pretty much parked at the entry to turn 1. That's ruined SPL Mali Kekech's lap, but to be honest, he's got plenty of time to carry on, and I don't think the fastest lap would come on the first one. See what his sector time was, though, a 27.1. But yeah, I don't think that's going to be particularly the greatest, as Rickster is now not too far behind. Sorry, Temp, I cut you off a little bit there, as the Ferrari's now just ahead of Rickster. But yeah, sorry, carry on. What was you saying?
Yeah, you was mentioning like you don't like the fact there's the 3 tyre compounds for the fuel pace difference, and it creates more crashes than
Yeah.
overtakes. And it's you may see this here saying that you may get the person on pole starting on the hard compound tyres, and you may get the guy in second on mediums and some guy in fifth on softs.
Yeah, and that
happen.
it really could. But I mean, this is the thing. I kind of don't have a problem with that bit of it. It does spice things up, but it does bring that problem of somebody on hard tyres, heavy fuel. Their braking points are going to be so different to somebody on the softest compound on heavy fuel. And when you go on a little bit further into the race, the guy on the softer compound pits earlier, comes out, may still end up being somewhere near the guy on the hard compound tyre, whose tyres are now knackered. So all of a sudden, instead of there being like a 2-second difference between the tyres, there's now a 4-second difference between the tyres, and the hard tyre runner's braking points have gone from, say, 100 metres to 150 metres, whereas the soft tyre runner is at 80 metres. So that's where you can end up with massive carnage. Go on, Tony.
And I was wondering about the race and the first corner, because now we are driving with low weight cars with rain tires, but then in a race you have a heavy car with slicks, and you have done 15 minutes of wet, so you are not feeling right the car just yet, I think. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the first lap.
It really is, and touching on that as well, as SBL Malikekech has gone pole position with his previous lap, he's just improved sector 1 time. But touching on that again, you're right, Tony, the difference of how the car's going to handle from these conditions to dry conditions, heavy fuel, is massive, and that's where the formation lap comes in very handy for the drivers. It gives them an opportunity to just feel what grip is out there. But if people enter into the race in the mindset of got into that rhythm of wet driving, it could cause problems, but we'll see what's going to happen. We've still got 12 minutes of this qualifying session left to go as Malikekech goes and does a sector 2 time of a 38.5. I don't know if that's looking quick or not, but it looks like he's struggling out there.
38.5's he has the purple middle sector at the moment, 38.53, so
just goes. Go on.
Hindu's going a bit quicker, just to let you know. I'll see what his middle sector is.
Okay.
38.6. They're similar, very, very similar.
Well, Malikekech is approaching the final corner now, and I said it looks like he's struggling, and it does, but he's still the quickest out on track at the moment. But it just goes to show how wet it is out there for these guys. As he approaches the line, does he improve on his time? I think he has done a 150.355. Try and get on board with Hindle, who has done a lap time already, which was good enough for second place. 26.7 matches Malikekech's sector 1, so he needs to gain the time in sector 3. A lot of understeer on the car, but not surprising in these conditions. How's the power delivery? Looking pretty good. Is he going to go for a short run to the line? Yes, he is. Is it quick enough? No, it's not. It's close though. 50.4. Yeah, look how close it is between those two. Quick look at Konzo out there at the moment. He's done a 26.8 and a 39.1. He's abandoned this particular lap, I think. I mean, one thing we may see from quite a few drivers today is pumping in a few laps. I mean, Temp, if you could try and sort of explain to the viewers, for those that might not know, why in wet conditions would you put in, say, 4 or 5 time laps worth of fuel and go and do 4 or 5 timed laps?
It's more for confidence, because the wet tyres won't wear as the slicks will, especially on a quality lap, because you're not doing sort of speed. So it's more confidence, warm brakes, warm tyres, everything feels like it's almost snowball. You then feel where you can brake, and then rather than go in the pits and then back out, it's exactly the same conditions, and it's a snowball effect. You get a lot more confident. Earlier on the power, later on the brakes, and harder for both. And that time just comes every lap. You find more time and more time. You keep exploring.
Yep. And it does mean as well that if you're out...
Hurley Whirley's just gone pole.
Has he?
That's a phenomenal last sector.
I was riding on board with Curly Whirly a few moments ago, and I looked and I thought, no, he's going slow there. I'll go and watch somebody else. And he'd gone and popped it on pole.
I mean, he was 10th down in sector 1. The middle sector was same as Mali Kekec, and he's just pumped in a phenomenal final sector.
But Dave, in wets, driving slow is driving fast.
That is true. Who did you learn that from, Tony? I like that comment. Just to let you know, Millstar's popped himself into 4th place. He's going for another flying lap. Caribbean Crusher's gone and popped himself into 5th place. I was riding on board with Calzo, and I'll go back on board with him because depending on how his final sector is, he could find himself on the front row of the grid. He's done a 26.8 sector 1, not the greatest, but a 38.5 sector 2. We know that's pretty good. How's the sector 3 time? What is it? Got to be low 44s, I think it was. Hard.
Low 45s, high 44s.
Okay, not taking the shortest run to the line. It's a 45.9. It's still only 6th place for him at the moment. Let's see, Caribbean Crush done a 27.0 in Sector 1. Who else have we got out there at the moment? It wouldn't be right if we don't ride on board with him at some point. Driving a red car, Jason, currently sitting in 15th place. And while we do ride on board with Jason and give my co-commentators an opportunity to have a look around, see if anybody's improving on times or even if anybody's going to risk going for the intermediates, I'm going to fire out question of the day. So, we're at Sepang in Malaysia. As most of us know, the Malaysian Grand Prix after this official F1 season will no longer be on the calendar, and it's a travesty. It's been on the calendar since 1999. But the question of the day is, how many completed racing laps has there been since 1999 at the Malaysian Grand Prix? So, 1999 to 2016, Malaysian Grand Prix completed laps, racing laps. If you think you want to have a crack at the answer of that one, folks, feel free to do so on the YouTube comments. But that's got TempFear going, so it can't be too bad of a question today.
He's wondering if you did count them by yourself.
Yeah, he's wondering if I've done mathematics.
Yeah, I was saying that. I've quickly checked the constructors. Well, I'm positive Mercedes can win it here.
Well, maybe they can.
How many points behind are they? If they outscore Manor by 21, I'm pretty sure they've won it.
There's 250 points available, including today. Yeah, we'll leave that for later. But yeah, question of the day. I did double check it. Oh, Rickster again, a little bit out of shape. He's in 9th place at the moment. He's sector 1 times. Go on.
Sorry, you might want to get on board with Curly early. He's pumping some more phenomenal sector time, just to let you know. I think he's fueled that car for the whole session.
Well, if he has fueled it for the whole session, it does mean that he can just keep going. And touching on what we were talking about earlier as well, about doing lap after lap after lap, it means that you're not sort of coming out of the pits on wet tyres just as the track turns to intermediate weather conditions. So for Curly Whirly, go out there pumping lap after lap after lap, he'll get to a point where he might go, you know what, he'll be ready for inters soon, I'll pit, pop on a set of inters, and he does improve on his lap time, a 149.894.
And he was a 10th star in the last sector than his previous lap.
Well, Mali Kekec is just lining himself up for another flying lap, and I tell you what, those clouds are not looking like they're getting any lighter out there at all. But, Tony, I was wondering if you could have a look at the, perhaps have a look at the tyre data and let us know if it is edging towards intermediate conditions or not.
I just checked like 5 seconds ago, and it's not just yet. There is a slight chance it's gonna happen in the last minute, but I will check it out then.
Okay. Well, Mali Kekec sitting in 2nd place at the moment. But I have seen, I mean, Konzo is usually pretty good in these kind of conditions as the track begins to get a little bit drier. 26.6 sector 1 time for SBL Mali Kekec. He's going to need to be looking for a 33.5 or lower. RDB's qualifying session is over. Jason's session is also over with just over 4 minutes remaining. Mali Kekec definitely struggling with understeer through the fast left-right chicane, but for drivers that have perhaps got their dry setup on the car, even with the tweaked front wing, they are going to struggle with understeer around this particular circuit. So into turn 9, Mali Kekec goes, sector line just after the corner. on the exit up the hill. Tricky traction zone of 38.5, sector 2, but it's in sector 3, I believe, Temp, that Curly Whirly's really been pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, he's the only man to go sub 45 seconds, and I have some news actually. It's quite good news, so well for us.
Oh, go on then.
Well, we're starting behind the Sullivan's.
Hey! That's good. Well, where are the Mercedes guys at the moment? I mean, obviously they're fighting for the title.
Last I looked. Hindle just on a sector 1 of 26.6, and Konzo's just crossing the line start.
Okey-doke. Malik Kakach about to complete his lap, and it's 50.145, so Curly Whirly still leading the way at the moment. Hindle is on another flying lap. I want to see how Konzo's doing. Konzo is currently in 7th place. It says he's on a flying lap at the moment. So Hindle's done a 26.6 through sector 1. Konzo's car's looking ever so twitchy for him, and he's done a 26.6 as well. And he's struggling a little bit on the brakes. And 69 has retired from the session. I think that might be the car just ahead of Konzo. That's going to well, it's going to give Konzo a horrible entry into the left-right chicane as Rickster. His qualifying session is also over now as well. Now into turns 7 and 8. Konzo looking a little bit smoother here than he was around turn 3. A little twitchy on the exit though. How's his sector 2 time? Needs to be better than a 33.5. It's painfully slow up the hill. Sorry, a 38.5. He's done a 38.6 though. But I would say it does look like he's running low aeros on this car with how much it is moving about underneath him. And still see the...
Okay, Hindle's just on pole, sorry to put in. I was quite surprised at that.
Oh, what was his sector 3 time? Oh, as Konzo runs a little bit wide at the Sunway Lagoon.
It's actually the same time than Curly Whirly's.
Yeah,
they're in the same time.
Ooh.
But he's got ahead of Curly Whirly.
Well, that
should be behind, surely.
If it's exactly the same time, you would think, yes, he should be behind with Curly Whirly setting it beforehand. We've got just under 2 minutes of this qualifying session left to go. Konzo, what have you got? Can you move further up the grid? Up to 4th he goes, a 150.4, but I think he may be going on for another lap. He's got the opportunity to do so. But yeah, Hindle currently sitting in pole position. And yeah, exactly the same lap time. Maybe, I mean, I was going to say maybe it's something to do with purple sectors, but Curly Whirly has got more of them.
Unless he's like the littlest fraction of a thousand ahead.
It could well be.
I saw Makekich going very slow into the final corner. I think he's just trying to get a gap, but also maybe try and leave it as late on into the session as possible where the conditions are maybe slightly better.
It could be what he is trying to do. I'm just having a quick look at the mental age of 10 McLaren reserve driver, Caribbean Crush. He's kind of like the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of for a racing World Series at the moment. Always seems to be on the subs bench, but he's a guy who delivers when he's called upon. So let's see how he's going to get on here today. But I mean, I kind of wish, you know, that this rain would continue on into the race because, I mean, I was having a bit of a conversation last night, weren't we, Tony, about when was the heaviest rain in the World Series and things like that. And I know you've been wanting rain all season, but rain in qualifying is exciting, but rain in the race just does spice things up a little bit.
Yeah, I would like that other way around if I would have a choice, but rain is rain.
Yep, rain is rain.
I will take this.
Yeah. The driver, I mean, to put it into perspective though, TempFear, as we are now kicked out of the pit lane and up into the commentary box. To put it into perspective for the drivers, I mean, does it have any effect on the mental attitude of the driver when you come into the session and all of a sudden it's a wet qualifying session?
It can do. It's more about if you practiced it at all. You haven't practiced it and then it's wet, you're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
But like round here, I did a little bit of wet practice So obviously there's the chance it will rain. And it's more about if you were that focused and you were like, okay, I'm going to qualify on these tyres, that's going to my race strategy, that's what I'm doing, then it'll probably fit you a lot more. Like I say, you're not going to start on those tyres, or you could, but they're not going to be the same wear, so you could go longer.
Sorry.
What kind of driver you are.
One of the Renaults was off track. I don't know if it was Mali Kekec or Valdemar. So I'm watching Hindle at the moment, and it's not showing me that Mali Kekec or Valdemar's out on track. But I'm just looking to see if he's heading into the pits. So Curly Whirly, whereabouts are you on track? Heading up to the start-finish line. Pole position. Oh, right at the death. He provisionally takes pole position. Is there anybody else that's going to be able to take it off him? It won't be Hindle. What about Calzo coming up to the start-finish line now, currently in fourth, and stays in fourth. Well, feisty little...
an experience.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Tony did just take a little bit of a trip out of the commentary box for a moment and came back in, but it actually says that Arazor has left the session. Have you just been disconnected?
I have a black screen, so probably can I?
Okay.
Get me out soon.
No problem. Well, I'll still try and jump out during the formation lap because it's TempFear that is the host. So hopefully we'll still be able to get back in. If we have any problems, we can always restart the race. But a very interesting qualifying session and a very important qualifying session for Hindle there. Which we'll quickly mention question of the day again, seeing as it is the last Malaysian Grand Prix this F1 official season. So the question of the day is this: how many completed racing laps has there been in the F1 Malaysian Grand Prix? So from 1999 to 2016, how many completed racing laps have there been? So confirmation of the qualifying result then. Curly Whirly takes pole position with Hindle in second place, SBL Mali Kekec third, and Calzo, a good result for him, in fourth. Valdemar in fifth, Konzo only sixth, but Nyanda in seventh, Milstar eighth, Lefty Hardtail ninth, Caribbean Crush in 10th, and the top 10 split by 1.1 seconds. Rickster in 11th, Farfber 12th, Garfield in 13th, MX Everglow 14th, Dave the Heart 15th, followed by RDB, Ant69 and Jason. But what a story though. His first reserve drive in the Formula Racing World Series, and Curly Whirly in difficult conditions goes and takes pole position. I reckon he may have been a little bit frustrated by them both having the same lap time and Hindle being given pole, that he had to go and beat it by a tiny amount.
I'd have been one of those, that was me. I'd be like, I said it before him.
Okay, Tony, have you been able to rejoin us yet?
It's still a please wait screen on my PlayStation, so it could take a while.
Okay, no problem. A quick look at strategy here. It's showing me potential 3-stop, potential 4-stop, soft and hard compound tyre. Tyres available today are the soft, medium and hards, and it's the hard tyre that is the mandatory tyre, and the drivers will have to use that at some point in the race if it stays dry. We did see yesterday that the 1-stop was a possibility, but it pretty much did require running the medium tyre for about 12 to 13 laps and then the hard compound tyre to the end. But also Mr. Hampton 44 and Simo both said that the tyres were struggling a little bit. Anybody that starts on the soft compound tyre today may be able to get to maybe, lap 10 are we thinking, Temp? Lap 10, maybe 11? But it's not long enough for... Well, tell us, how long do you reckon they will last?
Not that long. Good laps when they're brand new. 7 maybe at the start of the race. Maybe push the stint to 9, but 10 laps, I don't even want to think what the tyres would be like.
Well, it'll be interesting to see that Arazor has left the party. He appears to be having a few technical difficulties. I'm just going to quickly jump out and see if I can get back in so that we can see the start of the race. But unfortunately for Arazor, his technical difficulties, it's frustrating when the game crashes on you because there is pretty much absolutely nothing you can do about it. You just have to hope that you can get back in. Okay, let's see if it's... this is probably where it's going to tell me that I can't get back in now either. But if that's the case... Oh, no, I am on my way. I was going to say, if that's the case, then it would give Arazor a little bit more time to get in. But hopefully he's going to be able to. Temp, I was just wondering if you could have a quick look at what sort of tyres the drivers are on. I mean, I will try and show it when I get in there. But if you have a quick look, you may be able to see if anybody's done anything interesting and potentially done what you thought that some might.
Well, I did have a look, and at first it said Curly Bird is on a set of hards, but now it says on mediums. I've just noticed that it's changed. So I'm a bit confused there. But then, yeah, so Curly Bird and Hindle are on mediums. First hard runners are SBR Malikakich. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of pace he has, if he can stay with him, or if he's holding up everyone behind him. The next 5 cards after that are all on mediums. Caribbean Crush and Liquid Hardtail on a set of hards. And quite surprisingly, you've got Dave the Harp and MX Everglow on a set of softs standing 14th and 15th.
Ooh, so there are a few hard tyre runners out there.
Just three though. I'm surprised it's not more, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to agree with you on that one. MX Everglow, I think, is probably the only one, and Dave Harp, that I've seen on the soft compound tyre, as you will have mentioned. So a lot of people going for the medium compound tyres then. Arazor has now rejoined us back in the commentary box, and hopefully he's going to be able to join us at the track as well. If you're not able to, Tony, then you'll be able to keep an eye on YouTube for us and update us the best that you can. And you can also give us updates on any replays that obviously you'll be able to see. So as we get ready then, we'll see if it's going to give me my car on the grid, which I hope it's not going to. And Curly Whirly lines up for his first pole position in the Front Row Racing World Series as a reserve driver, and there's no better way to get everybody looking your way than sticking it on pole position ahead of the likes of Hindle, who is sitting in at second place at the moment. But for Curly Whirly, he's ready. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights of Malaysian Grand Prix. It's underway now. The Front Row Racing World Series drivers make their way towards turn 1 in a cloud of smoke. But can the Manor driver keep hold of the lead into turn 1? The Renault guys getting close to each other. Red Bull's moving about in the background, and the Williams looked like it was lagging a little bit. Malikakich comes together with his Williams, and there's a McLaren been spun around as well. There's absolute chaos at turn 1 in Malaysia. It looks like there's a few cars going ever so slow there, and Dave the Harp trying to make his way round. But yeah, the Renaults, there's a Force India lagging all over the place. I don't know if that's what one of the problems might be. But absolute chaos into turn 1. And for the Renault drivers, potentially absolute disaster. Curly Whirly leading the way. Hindle in second place. And actually Valdemar, he's survived quite well at the moment, up into third as one of the Renault drivers. Konzo's got himself up to 4th place, and he's being hunted by Kane Ianda in 5th. Kane Ianda having a look at the inside, but the move's not quite on, as Millstar having a look at the back of Lefty Hardtail, stuck in a hard tyre sandwich at the moment. Okay, Arazor, if it's not going to let you back in, perhaps...
I'm in.
Oh, right, okay.
My plastic bag has been removed from my head, and now I can comment it as well.
Okay, good stuff.
So I had to control my car and retire it, so yeah. No problem.
Oh, Millstar, he's going to have an opportunity here on Lefty Hardtail if he's got the straight line speed, but I don't know if he has. He may come under pressure from Caribbean Crush. But Tempo, I'm just wondering if you're going to be able to perhaps have a look at who may have suffered the most or has been caught out, as Garfield and Dave the Harp, I think it is, go side by side around the final corner. Red Bull into the pits.
I can tell you that now. I want to see if Tony wants to mention it though. Have you noticed it?
I've not noticed it.
I wasn't here in the stars of the race, so might not see it yet, but...
Have a look at who your best friend is.
Oh, I'm guessing Jason's got some kind of a penalty then, unfortunately.
He's got some front wing damage.
Oh dear. So Ferrari Williams still fighting it out. I think it might be Farfba that's got a lot of lag on his car, as RDB and Ant69, they like to give each other a bit of grief in the paddock on occasion, but now RDB is currently stuck behind Ant69.
Gonzo, Kane Lienda and Valdemar battling. Gonzo overtook Valdemar, but I think he was slightly off the track and got to hand his place back.
Okay, Caribbean Crush nearly wiped out the back of Millstar as they were breaking down into turn 9. Up at the front though, Curly Whirly, is he opening up a little bit of a lead? Yes, he is. But I'm wondering if Hindle is potentially just looking after his tyres a little bit. Oh, we've got a car driving off the track. Is that Kane Ianda? Yes, it is. At the Sunway Lagoon. His car's been ghosted. Is he losing connection? Is he out of this race? I think he might be.
Someone else who will be pretty happy by the race has started is Calzo down 18th. I believe he's made a pit stop as well, so he may have had some problem with damage.
Yeah, well, I did see one of the McLarens spun around in turn 1, so it must have been Calzo that it happened to. Kane Ianda, I think, is back in control of his car. I don't think he got disconnected. Maybe he just went wide and it ghosted him for safety, but he's now side by side with Millstar, and I don't think that's worked out too well for Millstar. No, it hasn't. He's coming under pressure from Caribbean Crush. Not quite able.
He's holding his own up front.
He is. Let's see, we've got Rickster, Calzo, Jason, all behind my car at the moment, and RDB has managed to get past Ant 69. But yeah, I mean, you said Curly Whirly, he's holding his own at the moment. Is he still opening up that gap?
Yeah, it's 1.9. I'll see how it changed to across the set 2 times.
Okie doke.
Just
So
crossing over it now.
we've got a bit of
seconds, again, number 10.
let's see, Curly Whirly, Hindle, Valdemar. So Valdemar sitting in 3rd place at the moment. He can see Hindle ahead of him, but I do just think that Hindle is potentially just pacing himself right now. Doesn't want to take too much out of the tyres. Valdemar, though, he's pushing his car hard through Sunway Lagoon, and that doesn't always work for you. But for Konzo, he needs to... Yeah, I'll jump on board with him. Come on then, Tony. Can Kane do it down into the final corner?
Yes, he can. But does Lefty Hartel now has DRS now?
No, Kane
still has it.
Yeah, Kane still has it, but Caribbean Crush in the background there. I think he might... there's definitely a Force India in the background with a little bit of lag there. I thought he was actually losing control of his car and heading off towards the barrier, but wasn't to be the case. Yeah, I think Lefty Hardtail may be frustrating Millstar a little bit, and Millstar frustrating Caribbean Crush a little bit, because I think if Caribbean Crush was able to get ahead of Millstar, he's got the pace to attack Lefty Hardtail, who is on the same compounder tyre that he is.
To note, you mentioned about Hindle taking it a bit easy as Clonzer's all over the back of Valdemar. Is he taking it easy to try and do one stop? Because obviously these guys would have seen the race yesterday and they could have taken ideas of one stop, 2 stop strategy.
Well, I mean, if any of the drivers were watching yesterday and they were thinking that a one-stop was not possible, and they saw that actually, you know what, it is possible, it would have played on their mind. And being on brand new tyres at the start of this race, because of the qualifying conditions, it opened that up as being more of a possibility. I think the sort of more impressive thing for yesterday was the fact that the drivers qualified on those tyres. Just having a quick look down, 10th and 11th, RDB pulled away from Ant 69 now, is also ahead of Farfba. So RDB trying to close the gap up. Rickster, he must have been one of the Red Bulls. Go on.
Lefty Hardtail, Millstars and Caribbean Crush with 2 cars with DRS in a straight.
Oh, but Konzo up ahead, he's trying to attack Valdemar for 3rd place. He's got the inside line, side by side. He's going to have to try a bit of a switchback, and he's lining himself up for that. But as these guys fight, it's allowing Kane Ianda to close that gap in on them. And Konzo can't afford to be held up by Valdemar as they go side by side up towards turn 4. Get it late on the brakes and take control of the corner as he has done. But now Valdemar's fighting it back towards the fast left-right. But Konzo gets the move done, and he needed to. He needs to now go and hunt down his teammate. That has allowed Kane Ianda to close the gap in on him. We've still got Lefty Hardtail, Millstar and Caribbean Crush sort of battling between themselves. And with them not really making any moves on each other, it's allowing SBL Mali Kekec to close the gap in on them as well. And if I remember, SBL Mali, Caribbean Crush going for the move on Millstar, as Millstar has left the session. His race is over. Unfortunately for him, that's a disconnection. But yeah, I think SBL Mali Kekec started on the hard compound tyre, didn't he, Temp?
He did, and someone else who started on the hard compound tyre was Lefty Hardtail, so it didn't show me that on the race director. But he's the highest in the hard tyre at the moment, so this is kind of bad news for racing GP, we like to say isn't racing. So.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I mean, Lefty Hardtail, all he needs to try and do is stay within a gap so that whenever anybody ahead of him pits, they come out behind him. He needs to be in range to be able to attack when he goes onto a softer compound of tyre a little later on. Tony, I'm just wondering if the gap between Curly Wurly and Hindle is opening up at the moment.
It does look like the same 2-3 seconds. It stays there for them.
Okay. Temp, if that gap's staying the same, would that tell you that, yeah, they're both just looking after their tyres, with that gap not opening up at all?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. The thing is, like, you mentioned about changing on the one start, like, say with the fresh tyres being wet qualifying, and I can see that, but it can have a negative effect because they might now try something which they haven't done. They may have, like I say, planned to start, but then watch this. Oh, hit Konzo's spot! I don't know what, is that turn 9, 10? Yeah, it's up the hill, and I think he's just too high on the pole. Spun onto the inside of the corner, Kane's got a bit like that, I think. Yeah, it's down to 6 with Caribbean Crush right behind him. That was quite out of the blue, though.
It is, and he's coming under attack as well from Caribbean Crush. They've both got DRS, but I think Caribbean Crush is a little bit more comfortable on his tyres at the moment. I mean, 6 laps in, it's possible that Konzo has punished his tyres a little bit too much, as Rickster is now out of this race. They're dropping like flies at the moment. But yeah, I mean, Konzo put a heat cycle through his tyres. That could be a problem for him. But something, I don't know if it was something that you were trying to perhaps hint towards, Temp. Anyone that started on the hard compound tyre, it would suggest going for a one-stop strategy, but they do have the option or the opportunity to pit early and do a 2-stop on soft compound tyres.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to get more at the point that I say that they're planning 2-stop qualifying on slicks, but like I said, I saw yesterday and been wet qualifying, and they changed to a 1-stop last minute. So that's not always the smartest thing to do. You don't always get the full benefit from doing that. You actually can lose time.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
It'll be interesting to see how they get on.
I don't know if that was a late move or a bumpy move. No, Kane Ianda looks like he's got a little bit of lag. So if he's got an engineer, it might be advisable to let him know that he is lagging about quite a bit at the moment. It was difficult to tell if he was legitimately going for a move as Lefty Hardtail gets ever so sideways right on the back of Kane Ianda. Konzo, he's right there behind Lefty as well, but so is Caribbean Crush, trying to make this into a 5-car fight down into the back straight. Caribbean Crush has got a good opportunity. He was going to have the slipstream of Lefty Hardtail ahead, and Konzo knows it, tries squeezing him a little bit, but Konzo's got phenomenal straight line speed there.
They both got that DRS off Lefty. It's just a pure drag race. As I say, someone in the pits, I don't know who it is.
That's It is. Keep an eye on what tyres he goes to, Tony. But I did mention in qualifying that Konzo looked like he may be running very low aeros because of how twitchy his car was in the wet. And seeing how quick he was on a straight there, it would suggest that, yeah, that could be right. He's got a decent run on Lefty Hardtail now, as my controller, for some reason, is vibrating like mad on my knee. Konzo having a look up the inside into turn 4.
Yeah, Valdemar with hard tires.
Konzo not quite able to make the move, and it's allowing Caribbean Crush to get ever so close again. Oh, this is tight as they head towards turn 7.
When was the last time someone won a race in their debut?
Oh, Calzo. Did Calzo do it? No, I don't think it was his debut in Hungary. It might have been.
I think he was his race around Baku, I think.
That is true. It's a good question. It's an interesting question. I've just seen as well that
Worley, just sorry to quickly say, he's 3.7 seconds out of Hindle. He's pulling away.
Yes, I was going to say about that. He's pulling away.
That's still your thunder there.
yeah, you did.
There's no cheating in this in this commentary box. It's all about sharing information.
We do have a pitter, Kane Ianda, into the pits as Konzo is trying to attack Lefty Hardtail. He's having a look. He's got to run on him up the inside towards turn 1. He's going to have to make sure he gets this done, and he gets a good exit of turn 2, because the last thing he needs is Lefty Hardtail fighting back at him, which is exactly what he is doing. Compromises Konzo's exit of the corner, but Konzo does manage to get ahead. Caribbean Crush is now going to try and capitalise on Lefty Hardtail. I don't know whether it's going to work though, as my controller is still going mental. It's making me wonder if my car is out there in a gravel trap or something like that.
I'll have a look if you want. But yeah, these medium and hard tyres, they're probably at a similar pace round about now.
Well, Konzo, now he's got past, he's already opening up a little bit of a gap on Lefty Hardtail, and SPL Mali Kekec has already closed into the back of Caribbean Crush, and he's on the hard compound tyre, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Konzo can do now, but he's, 11.5 seconds off the lead, and he's, 7 seconds off the back of his teammate Hindle, and he needs to beat Hindle here.
Yeah, you can't find a gravel trap, by the way, just to let you know.
Okey-doke, I'll just have to be satisfied with the massage that my knee's getting from my controller then. So Curly Whirly is on lap 9 at the moment, looking very comfortable out there. Hindle sitting in second place, and is he managing the gap? Is he looking after the tyres? We'll have to wait and see. Konzo in third place has already closed the gap down a little bit. Oh my days, but look at the battle we got in the final corner. No, Caribbean Crush into the pits. Is he doing a two-stop, having started on the hard compound tyre? If he is, I was going to say, if he is, it's an aggressive move, it's an aggressive call, but it could work for him.
Yeah, our pit reporter is on the scene. Just a moment, and I will tell you the tires.
You sound so happy with that.
It's a medium tire.
Well, the medium tyre is not going to get to the end of the race, that's for sure, but it is going to get him, 10, 12 laps into this race. It could leave him a soft stint at the end, or a lag there. Usual beautiful pit exits on Codemasters games, and that's all I'll say about that one. But Ant69, he's now up to 7th place as SPL Mali Kekec is really trying to get himself into this fight, now right on the back of Lefty Hardtail.
We have RDP and Carfield battling for the 10th position.
Just to let you guys know, it sounds like either JS has gone deaf a little bit, or people are struggling to hear you two a little bit, so you may need to pop your microphones up a little bit, or just shout a little bit louder. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why he talks about stuff you've already said. But SPL Mali Kekec is catching up to the back of Lefty Hardtail, and it'll be interesting if Mali Kekec can make a move and go on.
Any of the pitch, just let you know.
Okay, keep an eye on the tyres. I just want to see if Mali Kekec is going to be able to make a move on Lefty Hardtail down towards turn 1. So Konzo now into second place, and we've got a ghosted car just ahead of these guys. So up into turn 1, Mali Kekec does attempt the move. Lefty Hardtail gives him the room. Milstar's car is possessed in turn 1, but Mali Kekec now up into the lead, and if he can continue his pace for another 5-6 laps, he's still in half a chance of being in the fight for the lead here.
Question, Dave.
Yes.
If you were still racing, could you do 18 laps around here on a set of hard tyres?
Oh, it would all depend on how they feel. Considering that we're looking at Hindle at the moment, and I'm guessing that's why you've asked. I don't know. personally, I did always like to go a little bit more aggressive, run shorter hard compound stints and take the faster tyres where possible. But for Hindle, I mean, is this a short stint on hards to put another set of tyres on, or is he going to do 18 laps on the hard tyres? Well, I mean, Temp, do you think 18 are possible?
Possible if the last 3 laps are about premium lap times, I'd say then, yeah. I definitely wouldn't want to be doing 18 around here. And what did I do yesterday? I think I did 13 laps and they were close to punctures, so 18.
Mali Kekec. Go on, Tony, tell us all about it.
Yeah, our happy pitch reporter is on the scene again. Wait a sec, so yeah, I will inform you.
Well, interestingly, I mean, Hindle, he's struggled with tyre wear a lot this season, and I'm wondering if he is going for another pit stop. Mali Kekec, what's he done, Tony?
Ultra hard tyres.
So
yeah.
Confirmed 2-stop strategy for Mali Kekec. I mean, what, he's done 11 laps on these tyres as Caribbean Crush posts a new fastest lap of the race, but the gap between Mali Kekec at the moment and Caribbean Crush is quite large, so I don't know if Caribbean Crush has been compromised on his laps since he made his pit stop, but he was ahead of Mali Kekec.
So are Mali Kekec doing soft tyres after these hard tyres, or is it mediums after? What's the best strategy for a 2-stop?
I think he's going soft tyres at the end to do what, 11 laps on them, do another 11 laps on them. That takes you to 22, 6 laps on the soft tyre at the end, or even shorter stint on this current set. Yeah, I think that's the way that he's going to be going at the moment. Let's see, Hindle currently 28.1 seconds off the lead. And
early in a pit.
Go on, Arazor. Happy pit man.
Yeah, happy pit.
Yeah.
He's very slow on the pit lane.
Konzo spun at the final corner. I don't know if he's trying to the pit lane or what. I've just gone to the broadcast view and he's just crawled back onto the track.
Who's that? Konzo?
Hard tires.
Yeah, he's going very slow.
He is going very slow. Has he got a puncture? Has he got a puncture? He's got a rear left puncture.
He does.
He has. Oh, the worst possible place.
Yes, that is true.
I reckon he's gone to go in the pit lane, and as he's done it, the rear left's gone and it's just spun him round.
Oh, talk about pain. This is going to be ever so painful for him. It kind of goes to... he's trying to stay out of the way. It kind of goes to show, though, just how well the World Championship drivers did yesterday on tyres that had been qualified on to sort of get to lap 12. And I mentioned earlier on whether Konzo would have hurt his tyres when it looked like he had a bit of an off. But yeah, unfortunately, a left rear puncture for him, limited on speed, and he's dropping places. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
When was the last time in a race where the two Mercedes didn't finish?
I think the last time neither of them finished was Monaco, was it not?
I'm not saying neither finished.
Oh, right.
I'm not being that horrible. I'm saying when's the last time they both had no issues in a race? They both had a good
it's been a few races, hasn't it? I mean, this championship season has not been a case of clear and plain sailing for the Mercedes drivers. Although for Curly Whirly at the moment, it really is clear and plain sailing. Let's see, how far behind is Hindle? Hindle's still only 4.9 seconds behind, but Hindle will have another pit stop to do. Now,
and Gonzo's spun again. It's gone all wrong for him.
That it has. Hindle, though, he may have to be careful of Kane Ayanda. He's only 2 or 3 seconds behind him on the hard compound tyre. Probably has another pit stop to do. SBL Mali Kekec has recovered to get himself up to 4th place at the moment. He definitely has another pit stop to do here today. His teammate Valdemar not too far behind him, and he's in a battle with Lefty Hardtail. Lefty Hardtail trying to regain places. Lefty Hardtail now on the medium compound compound tyre, and Caribbean Crush in the background also on the medium compound tyre. So I'm going to hold the camera on Lefty and Valdemar, but Tony, I was just wondering if you'd be able to have a look at the race director and give us a full rundown of the grid as it is at the moment, please.
Yeah, just a second. Now Gonzo is back in pit lane. That was hard lap for him.
Yes, very painful.
So
sorry, just for the say.
Yeah, we have Curly Whirly in number 1 position. Then we have Hindle, Kane Dianda, Malik Gegec. 5th place, Valdemar. 6th, Lefty Hardtail. 7th, Hurricane Crush. Then RDP, Caruso, Garfield.
Just going to cut you off, Tony, so hold on a second, because Valdemar under pressure. Lefty Hardtail makes the move up the inside into the final corner. Has he managed to hold on to DRS as well? I believe he has, because Valdemar has not got it. So yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Tony, if you could round out that grid.
11th, Dave the Harp, then Farpa, or now Farpa is 11th, he's just overtook Dave the Harp. And 69 in 13th, Jason 14th, and Gonzo is now 15th. Behind him is Millstars, and MX Everglow 17th, and that's it. Rickster is not racing anymore.
Okay.
We have also right behind RDB for 9th and 8th, and then we have Farp with Dave the Harp right behind him. I believe they have a car just ahead of them. Yeah, Scarfield in between those two barrels, so...
Calzo got a run on RDB here. RDB made a little bit of a mistake at turn 4. Excuse me, Calzo's now got the inside line, but he's going to have to be aware of RDB on the outside of him. He is aware, and RDB has managed to stay ahead. I don't know quite how he did that. Perhaps it was Calzo being a little bit cautious and giving him plenty of breathing room there. And I mean, I've said a few times, sometimes great racing and great overtakes comes from giving a little bit of room to people, and that's where your fantastic battles come from. Yeah, Dave the Harp, Farpa off the track, turn 9. That gives Dave the Harp P11. And is Farpa going to come under attack from Ant 69? No, he is just a little bit too far behind. So let's see, is Calzo on the back of RDB again? No, he's lost a little bit of ground, but he does have DRS. But where has Conzo come out? Conzo's come out a long way down.
Oh, Valdemar was so close, smashed into the rear of Lefty Hardtail then. I think he'd have been out in that from there.
Well, Valdemar, he was passed recently to a degree. He only really needs to try and stay with Lefty Hardtail a little bit, but if he's one-stopping, he is going to have to look after those tyres. Interestingly, I want to see how SBL Malik Kekec is getting on, but I don't really want to jump away from this little battle here as Valdemar, he is really pushing hard. Interestingly as well, they're all two completely different lines through turns 7 and 8, and Valdemar had a much better entry, but not a better exit. But yeah, pulling away a little bit from Caribbean Crush, they are. But Malik Kekec, yeah, how's he getting on? 13 seconds off the leader at the moment, but with another pit stop to do. Let's see, Lefty Hardtail's not that far behind, so when SBL Malik Kekec makes his pit stop, I think he's going to have some overtaking to do.
Also made a mistake, and RDP is overtaken him in the 8th place now.
Okay.
And Garfield is behind him, and Calzo is off the track now.
So I'm wondering if Calzo's... Has Calzo made a pit stop yet? Have his tyres gone off the cliff if he hasn't made a pit stop? I'd say looking at him...
He has one pit stop made in lap 1.
So yeah, he's been on these tyres then for what, 15 laps, so they might be coming to the end of their life, and I won't be surprised if he's going to be heading into the pits anytime soon. Dave the Harp's behind him, but he'll only gain the place if Calzo does enter the pits. But is he? Yes, Calzo into the pit lane. Just a quick comment, if you would, TempFear, about this pit entry. It's not the greatest of pit entries, is it? And for a rookie driver, someone new to F1, It's really a horrible pit entry.
Yeah, I mean, taking Calzo for example, he's not really into Formula One, let's say, as much as some of us. So a lot of the tracks he's gotten to, he's got no idea where he's going. I mean, I had this little joke with him rather than the ball. We told him to take the racing line off. He didn't know which way he was going, left or right. But yeah, the pit lane here, it's not an obvious one in terms of the line you take the final corner. You don't want to take the pit lane, you want to throw it in there.
Yeah.
Whereas, let's say at Silverstone, it's a simple peel off. This one's a bit more than a peel off.
Yeah, and it's kind of a bit of proof of what you're saying there, that Calzo doesn't know the tracks, is that when we did the race where Germany was the next race, I said, oh, well, don't worry, Hockenheim, first corner's flat out left-hander. I know it wasn't, but he didn't know. But I kind of did it to show that, yeah, he's not raced on a lot of these tracks, so he's coming to them all for the first time. Go on, Tony, what do you got for us?
Gonzo is trying to pass the leader to unlap himself and almost collided with Gulliver.
Okay, so seeing as you've mentioned it then, Tony, what's the sort of, what would the right thing to do, or what's the right thing to do? What's the situation for Gonzo in this position?
Well, it's hard because if he's faster, then he wants to get it done, but he can't hurt Gulliver's race in doing so. So it's if you're fast, you could go, but if it's slightly faster, then I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
The big thing here is, like Curly Wurly's point of view, it's the guy who he's battling with, it's his teammate. And yes, they're like in a championship battle, but equally, in his head, he's thinking, oh, he might get to like get in my way, hold me up. He might. I mean, he's starting to pull away a little bit now, but he arguably might be better off just letting Gonzo go. Yeah,
quite possibly. The problem is that Hindle's not that far away, and Kenai Anda is not that far behind Hindle, so it is an interesting situation because as far as Gonzo's concerned, if he's fast enough to get ahead and pull away, then no problem, go for it. But you can't make contact, you can't expect the other guy to get out of the way for you. He doesn't even have to give you any room, he's the race leader. But yeah, if you're Curly Wurly, you do not want to let that Mercedes come past you because of that doubt in your mind of, well, if he gets ahead of me, it could slow me down, it could give me some dirty air, it could give me a problem, and I don't want that. I mean, Curly Wurly is fully within his rights to position his car to a degree where he wants and just expect Gonzo to sit there, because as a back marker at the moment, you don't have any rights to attack unless you are legitimately faster. You can make a move, you can pull away, and you can break any blue flag time marker that you need.
But if you are just slightly faster, game flags, blue flags for him, then it's hefty penalties if he doesn't give the place back. So you have to be more a lot faster than, or not at all.
Not only that, to put it, to add a little bit, Gonzo runs a little bit wide, to add a little bit of spice into it as well, really, Gonzo doesn't want to slow down Curly Wurly, because the last thing Gonzo needs is Hindle to go and win this race. Gonzo needs Curly Wurly to go and win this race. Gonzo would be better off slowing down and slowing his teammate up.
And now Jason joins this thing here. Now Curly Wurly laps Jason, and Gonzo is right behind him, so maybe he is gonna take the place as well. Yep. Like I said, Gonzo just overtook Jason while Jason was avoiding Curly Wurly.
Yep. Well, it is clever. We've seen people do that before, and that's probably the best thing that Gonzo can do at the moment. Just follow Curly Wurly and game plays. I mean, Jason will be sat there now going, hang on a minute, what? He won't know what will have happened to Gonzo. And he's like, what's Gonzo? This says he's in 14th, and he'll realise at some point, hang on a minute, he's just mugged me. By the way, Kenai Anda has pitted from third place. Well, let's see, Hindle. Is Hindle closing the gap? No, it's gone up to 5.6. but I do think they've got another stop to make. Lefty Hardtail, he's sitting in 4th place at the moment with SBL Malikakech in 3rd. But I don't think this race is completely over just yet. So where's Kane Ianda come back out? He's come back out in 5th place and he's on the medium compound tyre. And I tell you what, I think Hindle, don't even say anything, GP. I know you sat there listening, going, I tell you what. Kane Ianda could get a jump on Hindle here.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this actually just this moment. With Konzo getting a puncture, like I say, on those mediums, that Hindle pitted earlier after his stop, which could knock his confidence in terms of, is he going for the pits this lap? Yeah, thought he was. Yeah, I was thinking, like I say, he may have knocked him thinking, okay, my teammate's got a puncture, I'm not going to go as long as these guys in case I do as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so pit lane battle then between Hindle and Konzo. Not Konzo, sorry Konzo, to twist the knife a little bit there. I meant Kane Ianda.
Mediums for Hindle.
Yeah, so Hindle's not risking it. I mean, with 7 laps left, you would expect soft tyres, but Hindle's not. He's not taking any risks whatsoever, is he?
No.
Now Hindle, where's Kane? Where is Kane? Hindle exiting the pits now. Kane Ianda round the outside of him into turn 1. Oh, that'll have woken Hindle up a little bit. Hindle's going to be able to attack him, but he's on much colder tyres now.
Yeah, he's thinking, I should have put a set of soft tyres on. I'm thinking he may have been better off maybe going another lap or 2 and then putting softs on.
Maybe. Go on, Tony.
Gonzo still behind Gulliver. I might wonder what Gonzo is thinking, because he has the same pace now than the race leader, but he's in 14th place. So twisting the knife in the wound a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Interestingly though, for Hindle, in a way, if he can't make a quick pass on Kane Ianda and pull away, he needs to think twice about what these guys are doing, because looking at the undercut that Kane Ianda got on Hindle, if these guys play their cards right, if Curly Whirly has to pit again, they could undercut him, but not if they battle.
Would Curly Whirly consider a pit stop now? It looked like he was on for the 1 stop, but he's got that gap now, he could play it safe.
Yeah, I mean, he could slow down and take it easy. Hindle got a run on Kane Ianda, having a look up the inside into the final corner, thinks better of it, taking a deeper entry into the corner to give himself a better run on the exit of the corner. DRS wide open, but Kane Ianda's had a pretty good, decent exit there, but here now comes the straight line speed of the Mercedes, or does it?
Yeah, I was wondering a bit with what you said about playing safe with these hard tires, but he lapped on lap 12. He pitted on lap 12, so he would do 16 laps with these, and Kauso had problems with 15 laps worth of driving, so it could cost him in the last few laps.
It could. I mean, this is where, like I say, Kane Ianda and Hindle don't need to be fighting each other. They've got SBL Malikakech ahead of them, but quite a way ahead of them, but he's got another pit stop to do. And I'd expect him in the pits perhaps this lap for a set of soft compound tyres, unless somebody hasn't told him that, the hard tyres are mandatory, but you need to run a different tyre as well. But Hindle will be getting frustrated behind Kane Ianda. Konzo, he's going to be loving the fact that Hindle's being held up at the moment, but he'll be hating the fact that he's out of the points. Kane Ianda, a little bit more lag there as they're approaching a ghosted car. It does
only lap 23 and still staying on, so if he would pit for softs, I think the time would be already been, so I don't know.
Yep. Well, what Konzo does not want to do now is kind of put pressure on Curly Whirly that pushes Curly Whirly into a puncture.
Front of the corner, on the inside. Kane's got a good exit on the way back though, but Hindle's got the RS. So he should keep hold of this, but I'm trying to look at Kane's. Ooh, that was a very aggressive switch back there.
It was, but Hindle now back into 2nd place. So SBL Malikakech has made a pit stop. Where is he going to filter back out? We've got a Ferrari in the pits as well. SBL Malikakech comes out, I think, just ahead of his teammate. Yes, he does. and our lefty hardtail and Caribbean Crush still sort of fighting between themselves. Bit of a gap between them, but they'll be running to the end of this race. But I mean, at the moment, it's looking like a Curly Whirly Hindle Kane Ayander podium.
Yeah, it's a very good race from Kane. Yeah, banana car, he's now on banana tyres. So we'll see what sort of lap times he can do.
Well,
Extra banana.
I do think sort of Hindle and Kane Ayander have perhaps shot themselves in the foot a little bit. The first lap coming out of the pits, they gained, Jason's race is over. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We'll find out what that may have been in a moment's time. But yeah, when Hindle and Kane Ayander come out of the pits, they gained a second a lap. But through that little bit of a fight, they didn't gain anything else over the next lap or two. So we'll have to see if Hindle's going to be able to gain anything now.
DRS overtake. He just overtook Whirly Curly, so...
Whirly Curly.
Sorry.
Don't apologise for that. That's beautiful. Whirly Curly.
It's almost as good as James yesterday.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing for Konzo now is, like we were saying, if he's getting waved blue flags, technically he's got to get out of the way. But if he can open up the gap, and I'm not seeing blue flags being waved at him, but if he can open up the gap, he's free to pull away and just keep going. If he can break that DRS, that'll help him. But is he going to be able to catch Dave the Harp? I mean, is it 8 seconds or was that 18 seconds? 18 seconds to Dave the Harp. Yeah, I think Konzo's going to struggle to get into the points at the moment.
If
Calzo!
Yeah.
And Garfield side by side down the start finish straight. I think Garfield just made the move on Calzo into turn 1. A minute 3 seconds off the lead, but that's Garfield making moves and Calzo having to recover from that first lap crash, and he's trying to have a look at a bit of a switchback on Garfield, but not quite able to do it on the first attempt, and Garfield covering it off now.
Curly Whirly with the DRS from Konzo, so Konzo is maybe helping our race leader to pull away from Hindle.
He could well be. I was going to jump back to this battle between Garfield and Calzo. They're still close together. Temp, if you could have a quick look and see if we've got anything kicking off, sort of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, because I'm looking at 8th and 9th at the moment, and Calzo looking a little bit feisty in these final few laps.
They're looking all pretty spread out. By 3-4 seconds between all of them. Something I was going to say about Konzo quickly is on my screen he was still getting some blue flags, so you might be careful about any potential penalties or even disqualification. I know he's not scoring any points, but still, Calzo benefit.
He could. I mean, Calzo just made a little bit of a mistake, ran a little bit wide. SBL Mali Kekec now on the soft compound tyre. Technically should be the fastest car on the track, but it doesn't always go that way. Let's say, I think he's too far off 3rd place, to catch up to Kane Ayander. Although, the gap's 6 seconds.
It's extra banana, you can catch him.
Well, interestingly,
yellow tyres.
Yeah, interestingly, Kane Ayander, white car, white tyres. He's keeping up with Hindle at the moment, and how much is that going to annoy Hindle? Because you'd either have to sit there and go, well, Kane Ayander's got pace here, or you've got to say, well, Hindle's off the pace here.
You could say that, but I wonder if Hindle's had the radio message that you get when someone has something. That's all I'll say for now. See if you can work it out.
Winky face.
There's Dave sitting going, what?
I'm not listening to you. I faded away for a moment. I was having a look at a few things. Curly Whirly's back ahead of Konzo. And Hindle has still got Kane Ayander right up his gearbox within DRS range, and Hindle actually going defensive, and we are not far away from the last lap of the race now, so Kane Ayander giving it absolutely everything he's got, and he's only got 2 laps to give it, so let's see what's going to happen there. But SBL Mali Kekec in 4th place, if he starts catching on to these guys within this last couple of laps, he could potentially steal positions off the both of them.
He could, indeed. say Curly Wurly out front. I think he's always going to get a puncture. He's an almost guaranteed podium sitter. But we have say Hindle, Kane, and Okich. We'll change around for the end. And it's 2 bit laps. They just thought about 26 when they said that. So not 2 laps, 3 laps.
Okay. Mathematics, never my strong point. There's 4 of us in the commentary box here, but I'm only hearing 3 of us. I'm joking.
Why, you're hearing James in your head just repeating what you're saying?
It was interesting, actually, and if James is watching this, I think he'll like this. Me and Tony were having a little bit of a conversation before we came live today, as Kane Andrew is still closing in, and Arazor joined us for commentary on the World Championship yesterday, and he said, I don't know if yesterday whether James talks a lot or whether there was just a lot of action on the track. I think it was both, but I don't know if James usually does just talk a lot. And I was like, yeah, it was both, but yeah, he does talk a lot. He's like me. If you say nothing, he'll talk.
Well, yeah, he'll talk. He'll say what's really good to say all the time. Literally,
yeah.
I get bored of him eventually. I'm like, I'm James, really appreciate that. But yeah, Cal does catch it.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that unfortunately Caribbean Crush is sitting down in 7th place at the moment. The battle between him and other cars has kind of faded away a little bit, but I have seen that Caribbean Crush did have to change front wing at one of his pit stops. That will have cost him a considerable amount of time. I think Garfield is actually pulling away from Calzo at the moment. Let's see, RDB, he's in 10th place right now with his teammate in 11th. About an 8-second gap between those two. David Harping 12th and Konzo 13th. He's still 1 minute 38 off the leader, and that's probably going to stay the same, because how frustrating is that? He's 1 minute 38 off the leader, but the leader's right in front of him. For Curly Wurly though, into the final corner he goes, and he's about to start the last lap of the race, and he's going to start thinking that this World Series is easy. But it is anything but. I mean, it's been one hell of a difficult race out there today. I mean, I expected with a dry race that we wouldn't have much drama, but we had a hell of a lot of drama on that opening lap. Well, Curly Wurly then on to the final lap of the race in his Formula Racing World Series debut as a reserve driver, showing that the results he's been getting in the WSR have not been a flash in the pans. Hindle still under pressure from Kane Ianda, and Mali Kekec is trying to close the gap in, but I don't think he's got enough. But looking at how close Kane is to Hindle, if he has a good turn 13-14, sort of Sunway Lagoon, if he's close enough, he could take Hindle on the final lap of the race into the final corner.
Could indeed. He's there with him. Good car, straight line, and feel like. Yeah, he's been a bit of a surprise in all honesty for me. He's got some great pace.
That he has. That he has.
I mean, not to diminish the guy, but he's not been front running. But this race weekend, he's been on it.
That he has. I was just wondering if Curly Wurly is going to be nice and pull over and let Hindle let Konzo go and complete all of the laps, or whether he's going to give him a bit of a break and finish his race early. He's going to finish his race early for him. So Curly Wurly then takes victory here in Malaysia in the World Series. A fantastic result for him, and a fantastic result for the Yankan Laimi Manor team. Hindle, he is in 2nd place, and Kane Ianda isn't close enough. I don't think he may close that gap in towards the final corner, but it's going to be too little too late for him. It is really, really close though around the apex of the corner, but it is Hindle and then Kane Ianda 2nd and 3rd. SBL Mali Kekec coming around the corner now to take 4th place. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with that result. Valdemar, his teammate, in 5th, and he's got Lefty Hardtail right up his gearbox. 5th and 6th places for those guys. Caribbean Crush. He's heading towards the finish line now to take 7th place. And Calzo, he's managed to get ahead of Garfield. Something must have happened with Garfield. So we've got a battle on them for 8th and 9th place. Calzo trying to go defensive. Garfield trying to go aggressive. And Calzo making him go the long way around. That could work, but also the longer run. No, a bit of contact. And Calzo is spun around. Garfield continues on to take the place. Calzo, though, is going to be able to recover in time, I think, to take 9th, because, yeah, RDB's just a little too far away. The 10th place then for RDB, 11th for Farfber, Dave the Harp, 12th position. MX Everglow, his car is ghosted, so I think he must have disconnected much earlier on. And let's see, Dave the Harp is crossing the line, and he will be the last, I believe, of the runners on the lead lap to complete the race. So, guys, just a quick reminder, please take a picture of the result for us, and let's see. Kane Iander unfortunately had a time penalty, so even if he'd have got ahead of Hindle, he would have ended up behind him. Wow, Dave Harp
had some very interesting penalties.
Yep, I'm not going to try and work out adding that amount of time onto the total race time. It's not going to work. But yeah, unfortunate race for the likes of Rickster, Jason, MX Everglow, Millstar. Millstar, I saw he mentioned a power cut ended his race. Talk about a disappointing way to get to the end. Okay, I'll quickly mention question of the day before I invite in the podium sitters, because I will have to do that in a moment. So, question of the day. Whew, what a race. Take a breather, guys. I know I'm going to need to in a moment. We've just raced at the Malaysian Grand Prix Sepang International Circuit, but I want to know how many completed racing laps has there been in the official F1 Malaysian Grand Prix. From 1999 to 2016, how many completed racing laps? So, I am now going to quickly invite in the podium sitters, so apologies for the blue screen. But that's what happens when Tony gets disconnected during qualifying. So I may need a reminder. Curly Whirly, Hindle, and Kane Iander. So as yeah, TempFear has gone to relieve himself or check Google. It'll be one of the two. But I've got to say, a massive well done to Kane Iander, getting on the podium there. Phenomenal result for him. But I mean, I've got a feeling it could be a very interesting podium today, with Hindle maybe mixed emotions. But if there's ever going to be a disappointed driver, Konzo is going to be that guy today. So as we wait then for our podium sitters to come and join us, just want to quickly mention, if you do have any questions for the podium sitters, feel free to put at FRR, and Tony will be able to put those questions to our podium sitters when they come and join us. Whew.
Hello again.
Oh, hello.
What you said before I left.
And
Yes, clearly, lad.
I'm guessing that was. I'm guessing that's Kane Iander that's cheerfully strolled into the podium interviews there.
Beautiful. We wheel turned off, you know. Hey, by the way, I'm on Do Not Allow at the minute.
Oh, so Kane Iander and Curly Whirly are chatting to themselves and nobody can hear them because they haven't set the microphones to allowed to be shared. So make sure you do that, guys. I'll just quickly mention as well, I'm sure it says in the rule book that if your steering wheel turns off, even if it's only for half a second, you get disqualified. Or am I just winding Kane Iander up? That's what happens when you come into the podium interviews too happy. It is. Anyway, Kane, as pleased as I am for you, shut up, you didn't win, so we're not going to come to you yet. But very well done to you, and Hindle has now joined us as well. So yeah, guys, please make sure you got your microphone set to allow to be shared, and we will head straight over to Whirly Curly, as Tony so beautifully named him during the race. So Curly Whirly, qualifying, I think it took every driver I think every driver took a bit of a step back in the garage to not get too wet, but it was ever so wet in that qualifying session, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd done quite a lot of dry practice. It was the only qualifying practice I'd done pretty much since about Monday, so I wasn't really expecting that. But I think there was, for a while, before I put the final lap in, me and Hindle were on, I think, the exact same lap time for a good amount of it. So yeah, it was pretty close. But I was behind my pole lap. I was behind the Delta all lap and made up a 10th on like the final corner. So it was really close.
Well, interestingly enough, TempFear mentioned it during the qualifying session that you seem to be doing a lot of laps in that qualifying session. You sort of went out and you were just pounding laps in. What was you thinking behind that?
I find it's generally better to go out and get used to the conditions, learn where you can actually brake and get on the throttle, go out and set 4 or 5 laps, and then come in at the end and grab some new tires and go out and see if you can beat it. But I think in the wet it's a lot harder to set one really good consistent lap, so you've kind of got to just go again and again until you get something that's good.
Very, very true. Okay, on to the race then. The start. I don't know if you saw the start in your mirrors, but there was so much going on behind you at turn 1. But it looked like you were fairly comfortable out there today. You managed to open up a 2-second gap on Hindle. Kind of looked like he may have been looking after his tyres a little bit, and then so you both balanced yourselves out, held the gap quite stable. But you being on the one-stop strategy definitely worked for you today. Although some other pesky Mercedes made it a little bit interesting out there for the last sort of 10 laps of the race.
Yeah, Konzo was. I think Konzo was the only other car on the one stop, and I don't know what happened, but I think he tried to go into the pits and missed or something like that. And then, because he was in second, so, and then he comes out of the pits behind me a lap down. So I think he must have had a puncture.
He did
something like that on his lap.
He
but
didn't get into the pits and he had a puncture.
The start of the race was a lot of fun because I got through turn 1 okay, and then Hindle was behind me and I was just like, right, I've got to bolt as fast as I can. So yeah, I put in a couple of sort of qualifying laps at the start and then more so focused on saving my tyres.
Okay, last question from me for the moment. I mean, we talked about it a bit on the broadcast about obviously you having Konzo behind you. He's in a blue flag situation. We discussed sort of all the parameters of that. But just wondering from your point of view, I mean, what was it like having him behind you? Obviously, looking like he wanted to come past.
I did go for an overtake at one point, but I wasn't really having any of it. And then later on in the race, when I realised that I had quite a big gap, I went to sort of let him through, but he was getting the blue flags in front of me, so he just sort of had to let me back through. So it's no problem. I don't mind him sort of trying to overtake because he was maybe a little bit quicker at that point, but yeah, I think if it was a closer race, it might have been more of a problem.
Okay, I'm going to hand over to my co-commentators to see what questions they've got for Curly Whirly. So, Tony, any questions for Curly Whirly?
Yeah, I have to say I love your name. It's wonderful, and I'm asking about the origin of your name. Can you tell us more about your PSN name?
So that'd be about 2009, I think, and. I was making an account and I had no idea. I'm not great at sort of making up names on the spot. And I was eating the Curly Whirly chocolate bar, so I was just like, all right, let's go with that. And it's stuck for the last 8 years, so I think I'm a bit too far in to change it now.
Well, I got a bit. I want to touch on that. Does that mean that there was a Curly Whirly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were taken, so you went with 7, or did you have 7 of them?
No, the 7 just sort of looked right, so that's what I went with. I don't know if there's any other Curly Whirlies running around.
Maybe we'll find out. Well, we'll let Tony carry on. So, come on, Tony. Let's grill him some more. Find out more of his chocolate habits.
Well, no. Just TempFear can continue this. I'm satisfied with and now I know what the Curly Whirly means, so thank you.
Good old Razor. Right. In qualifying, especially this was the start anyway. Your final sectors were well considerably quicker than anyone else out there. Was that a case of you running low downforce, or what was your setup like? Because you didn't really get challenged in terms of in the race, but even when Cons was riding with DRS, he wasn't blitzing past you. So was you running some skinny wing?
No, I was running 8.7, so I'm kind of
8.7.
surprised if people were running higher wings than that. But I don't know if people put them on for qualifying and then struggle in the race because of it. But no, I think it was yesterday that I changed my setup and found quite a lot of time, so I just stuck with that. But I wasn't running any sort of low aero really.
Yeah, talking of qualifying and setups, did you consider changing it?
No, the race is completely dry, so I figured it was better just to keep the setup for that.
Well, I said, sure. Dry race, so the points scored. Yeah, it's paid off here, so well done, mate. Actually, I think you might be the first person to win a race on their debut.
It is possible. We would have to try and check back. I'm sure somebody will send us a message say no, it was me. But yeah, very well done, Curly Whirly, on that. Congratulations on the result there. Definitely. I said it in the reserve races. You definitely put yourselves in the doorway of a few teams, and obviously shown today what you're capable of. So don't rush off. We'll come back to you again shortly. We'll just head over to the other side of the commentary box and have a little chat with Hindle, who I think it would be fair to say has had an interesting couple of weeks when it comes to taking that Mercedes around the racetrack. A lucky result in Singapore with devastating sort of news at the weekend, but I don't know, is it luck spinning around for you, repaying you this week with the difficulties that your teammates had?
Definitely. Like I said, Singapore, definitely lucky getting, some pretty decent points, and then disqualified. What? And then today I thought, well, from the rest of this season now, I don't care about winning. I only care about beating him. If that's me being 9th and him being 10th, then so be it. But today, yeah, he was quite unfortunate. I don't know if you call it, but he got a puncture going down the straight. And as he turned into the pits, he spun the car and that kind of come back on track. So you had to full lap with a puncture.
Painful for him. Painful for you probably as well, hearing him suffer. But for yourself, for your own race, it looked like you had a pretty decent start, and it looked like you were nursing the tyres a little bit. It was almost as if you weren't overly bothered about hunting down Curly Whirly at the start, and that made me think maybe you're going for a one-stop strategy. But was it more a case of you don't need to hunt him regardless of what your strategy was, and was it always a two-stop that you were going to try and do?
Two-stop, yeah. And the first couple of laps I took it a bit easy because obviously, like I said, from now on I don't care about winning, I care about beating Con. And he was behind me, so I thought, as long as he's behind me, I don't need to do anything stupid. And then I asked him about his tyre wear, and it was significantly better than mine. I was like, right, okay. And I had to start pushing from there. I started pushing a bit more until the pit stops come. And then obviously, as soon as he had the incident, I just completely backed off.
Okay. The last pit stop you did, I'm trying to think when it was that you actually stopped. Lap 20, I think it was.
Yeah, under lap 20.
Around there. You went for the medium tyre again. Was there no temptation to go for the softs, or was it just again a case of you don't need to?
No, I was never going to do the softs. The softs are terrible around here. And we did a bit of practice before the race, and I think 8 laps was the absolute maximum you could have got out of the softs, and that was teetering on the limit. So I didn't want to risk anything, and especially I didn't even know Kane was on the medium. I just took a swipe.
Well, I was about to say, did your underwear change colour a little bit when you came out of the pits and he all of a sudden swings around the outside of you?
Yeah, definitely. But again, I thought if I want to, then I'll pass him. And then it come up that don't fight him, he's got a penalty. So again, I thought, right, just chilled out, and then I did get the opportunity to overtake him, so I did, and then luckily enough to keep the position.
Yeah, well, very well done on the second place. I'm going to hand over to my co-commentators, see what questions they've got for you. So, TempFear, any questions for Hindle?
Well, what problem are you going to have then in Japan?
What problem am I going to have?
Yeah, because you got disqualified at Singapore. The race before that, I believe one of you had an issue again. Monza, you disconnected. Onto the nightmare today. Your turn again next time.
Right. Well, hopefully not, because I'm actually quite good at Japan. It's probably the strongest track for me. But again, I'm not going for a win. I'm going to beat Con. But if Con's second, then yeah, I'm going for a win.
I mean, it's been a while since the pair of you have had a race where you've not been affected by any unlucky incidents or something.
No, it's a bit of a shame really, because everybody knows we're probably exactly we're not exactly the same. We've got a few temps here, a few temps there on different tracks. We're pretty much the same pace, so no matter what, every track we've been so close together in qualifying and in the race, something's happened to one of us, and we've never ever this season had a wheel-to-wheel race, and it's a shame really.
Yeah, I mean, going by my maths and not Dave's maths, you could have clinched the constructors here. So all these incidents have kind of cost you doing that now. I mean, it's pretty certain you're going to get it anyway, if we're all being honest. But it probably would have been nice to wrap it up earlier, and then probably could have had a bit more of a dogfight battle than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I heard he had a bit of a incident. But I thought, well, we're absolutely miles in front in the constructors, so it's not really too much of an issue. We don't really think about it too much.
Fair enough. Arazor, Tony?
Yeah, Hindle, do you have any news about the condition of ironing board? I think there is some action going on in Gonzo's apartment, so did you hear abuse of ironing board?
No, to be fair, he was actually he just sounded gutted. He was just like, you know what, I can't believe that's happened. And instead of him going, off the rails, like after a full lap with a puncture, he didn't say anything. He was quite cool, to be honest.
It's his own fault, that's all. I can't blame him.
Tony, any more questions for him?
No, well done for the race.
I've got one more question for Hindle, and then we'll move on to Ken Ander. If that puncture had happened to yourself, where it had happened to him, would you have gone, I'm going to go in the pit lane anyway, and taken any potential penalty for a dodgy pit entry, or would you have suffered the pain of doing a full lap?
Well, I actually said that to him. I said, you know what, you should have took the 20-second penalty. That's if anybody looked through footage, and because it'd be a lot less. I mean, what he lost, well, he got lapped, so a good minute 40. Yeah. I said you should have took the the hit and took the 20 seconds, and he said, well, I couldn't because did you actually get it on camera?
We didn't get the spin. I got on board just after.
What he said that happened is he went into the pit lane, and just before the pit line, the car spun, and it just spun him back onto the track. So he couldn't. He, obviously, as soon as you go backwards, you get DQ'd, don't you? So he had no choice. No choice but to do another lap.
Oh dear. Well, it's a shame for Konzo. It's a bonus for Hindle. I mean, Konzo would have been loving it a few days ago when he found out Hindle's footage wasn't there and took away all of his points. But it's your turn to buy the ice creams this week, Hindle. Okay, don't rush off. We'll come back to you in a few moments. We're going to hand over now to Kane Iander, and I've been making you wait for quite some time, but I've got to say I'm absolutely delighted for you that you have managed to get onto the podium. And I don't know, Okay, Hindle, he wasn't interested in beating anybody other than Konzo out there today, but I don't think anyone should take anything away from yourself, who kept him on his toes out there today. You had the pace to fight for second place, and you had the pace to take the podium. So I think my only sort of couple of quick fire questions for you are: how was your qualifying? How did you survive the opening couple of corners, and how lucky are you that your wheel managed to turn on again?
Quali, I couldn't get a grip with the weather. Like, I found 5 temps here and then I lost 6 temps there. So I was just chasing me backside everywhere, all over qualifying, stressing. I managed to get a lap in and I ended up getting 7th. I weren't really happy with it, but it is what it is, really. So
okay, so start of the race then.
Nightmare. Nearly screamed. My heart was in my mouth twice. I dodged one car, another one came up, I was like, oh. And just about got away from that one, and then kind of got some clear air. Started making ground up on Valdemar. Looked for a move. I think I got one. Got past them, and then my wheel just went off. And then I was closest throwing the thing, but I managed to get it on quick enough, and I only lost like 3 positions, so then it was attack, and a 2-stop was just on from there.
Yeah, it was attack, and I mean, you were, 2 or 3 seconds behind Hindle when you made your final pit stop. The undercut worked beautifully for you. I mean, I'm not sure he was entirely prepared for you to be there on the exit of the pit lane. I mean, just how close was it, and how pleasant was it for you to be in that situation as he's exiting the pits?
I just had to kind of take a chance, to be honest. It was like, I'm in front. Oh, I'm going to be in front and carrying more speed, so this is my line, deal with it. So that was kind of my approach to it. I know it was close, but I just had to get it done, to be honest. So I apologise if it was a bit rough, but he ended up getting me anyway, so.
That is true. That is true. You're unlucky not to be able to get him back. I'm going to hand over to my co-commentators. Tony, over to yourself for any questions you've got for Kane Iander.
Yeah, Kane, you had problems with your steering wheel, and it happened more than once. So was there any panic about your equipment, or what were you feeling when that happened?
Yeah, to be honest, I've been having issues with it for the past 2 months now, so I've kind of stopped panicking about it. I was learning how to get around it the quickest way. So yeah, it's a bit of a ball ache, to be honest, but I think if I end up buying a new wheel, I'm just gonna go off the game anyway. So it's not too much of a problem, but it's like sometimes it'll turn off, and then it won't turn off at all, but then the downshifter will stop working. And then when the downshifter starts working, something else will break, so it's just...
It sounds like you need a new wheel. It definitely sounds like you need a new wheel.
I don't know what it is. I'm been trying to work out the problem, because someone told me that you don't use the first USB port on your PS4, you use the second one because it gives it more power. Turns out that was a lie as well.
Yeah, out of curiosity, what wheel is it?
The G29.
Oh, okay. A G29 that's not very old and is not working properly. Interesting. Okay.
It was like, I've got that wheel. No.
No, I haven't. Okay, Tony, more questions for Kane Iander?
No, just I say well done. Well done in the race with the problems with your steering wheel, so well done.
Cheers.
Okay, and TempFear, come on, give him a grilling.
I will. But continuing the thing with his steering wheel, where did it happen actually? Because I didn't see it.
I think it was on the second to last corner on about the 4th lap. I think. I'm not too sure.
Oh, yeah, well, I know when it happened because you went off, didn't you? And then Colin took you.
It's disappeared.
Not the best call there. Yeah, when you made that final pit stop, did the soft tyres cross your mind, or is it always in the medium?
That was the plan, but I was having an argument with a hybrid. Yeah, nice one's a hybrid, by the way. He wanted me to say that. But I was arguing with him for about 2-3 laps, whether I should stay out for a bit longer, and then my heart hit 70%. I was like, I've just got to get on the mediums now, to be honest. Because I knew, obviously, what Hindle said before, 8 laps is the max for soft, and that's pushing it. And I'd rather have the medium tyre and go all the way to the end without a problem. But I did notice that Mali Kekec put them on, and he was gaining on me quite quick, but luckily towards the last 2 laps he started dropping off. So it was a good job I didn't put them on, to be honest.
When you had that penalty as well, what was your thoughts then? Because, I mean, I'm not sure what lap you got it, but you obviously said you was ahead of Hindle on that last stint. So was you starting to think that that penalty was going to cost you second place?
To be honest, I didn't ever think I was going to finish in second. I always thought Hindle was going to get me because he's more used to being in that situation. So, I mean, I was happy with the third or second, to be honest.
Just happy with the podium.
Yeah.
Is this, like I said as well in that race, not to be horrible here, but you haven't exactly been a front runner this season. You know, you've been like mid-pack or so, but like today you've been absolutely on it. So is this going to continue for the rest of the season? Are we going to see you at the front?
That's the aim. I did say in my pre-race comments the other week before it bit me on my backside at Singapore that I've been doing a lot more practice and I've been having help with me race strategies and the way I race. So hopefully this will be more frequent.
Wow. I'm guessing Curly Wurly's your mate.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. He's done it. So.
Oh, he doesn't help me. That's not me. I asked him to take me through a lap in Malaysia before, and he said, "No, I want to get 3 laps in quali."
Well, how many laps of practice we do together in the qualifying?
See, that's how he wins races. Anyway, well done to Kate Ianda there, taking provisional 3rd place. I'm going to mention question of the day, and then I'm going to give people an opportunity to just think about it, and then I'll get Tony to fire the questions from YouTube to the drivers, and then we'll answer question of the day after that. Question of the day for today is from the Malaysian F1 Grand Prix from 1999 to 2016, how many completed racing laps have there been? So if you think you want to have a guess at answering that one on YouTube, pop your answers on now. We'll give the drivers the opportunity to have a think about that. But Tony, do we have any questions for the drivers from YouTube?
Yes, we have some. There is requests for Curly Wurly to sing, but well. And then there was same questions that I already asked. Sorry about that. I didn't check the comments, so I nicked someone's questions. And what else? From GP, did you miss me? Yes, we did.
Yeah,
I wish you were here. And yep, that's about front questions.
Okay, so then Curly Wurly, your opportunity to answer question of the day. How many completed racing laps have there been in the F1 Malaysian Grand Prix from 1999 to 2016?
So I know that there's been at least one race that was cut short. So I'm gonna say 960.
960. Okie doke. Hindle, what about yourself?
We are 15. Blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna say about 1200.
So about 1,200. Okay, and Kane Ianda, what about yourself?
About 1,700.
About 1,700 for Kane Hyanda. Okay, Tony, would you like to have a guess at that one?
Yes, I would say 850.
850? Okay. And TempFear, what about yourself?
I'll go 750.
750. Okay. Well, just to put things into perspective for you folks, Curly Whirly mentioned about the race that was cut short. That was in 2009 when it was a wet race and it was only a half distance done. The completed racing laps there was 554. So anyone that said about 700 to 1,000, I think you're slightly wrong. Because...
Wait, what?
He's counting for all of the cars.
Well, you see, completed racing laps.
Ah,
Right, time to answer by 20 then.
So anyone that isn't in the 5 digits range, sorry, you've got it wrong.
Hashtag played.
I had a feeling it wouldn't be over 1,000, but I don't think
you're going to love these answers, then.
Yeah. Well, have we had any guesses on YouTube, Tony?
Yes, we have few. We have from Drew, we have 900. Then Yuzi has 1,272. And then there was from GP 18,100, and from Calso 16,053, and those two I was laughing about those. Oh, that's so much! But now I'm speechless. And those were the tries, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll give you guys some a little bit more information as well. Most laps completed in one race was in 2012 when it was 1,216, where 15 cars finished on the lead lap. Least amount of laps was obviously that wet race in 2009 that I mentioned, where 14 cars ended on the lead lap, but obviously it was only a 31 lap race. And the answer is 17,189 completed racing laps in the Malaysian F1 Grand Prix since 1999. So yeah, there you go. Obviously there was going to be a little bit of a trick side to the question, and that was it. So as the drivers, and you're welcome, Temp. You're welcome.
I was going for like actual racing lap, not like how many laps each car had done collectively.
Well, you see, you have to think outside of the box sometimes.
What are your questions? Always 2 or 3 answers.
When you have to come up with about 50 of them over a course of a season, some of them are going to be dodgy. Okay.
Did GP and Calso get inside information because they were the two so close? Both were 1,000 off.
Interestingly, no, because I didn't mention to anybody what the question was going to be. And I didn't even have any idea what the answer was until about, 20 to 7. So, no, there was no inside information on that one.
You told everyone it was going to be a dry quali, Dave.
Did I? You told us it was going to be a wet race. But anyway... time to start wrapping this up. Just to let everybody know, the race result is obviously only provisional. The confirmed result will be posted on the Front Row Racing Facebook page a week on Saturday, giving the drivers plenty of time to get their footage sorted out and report any incidents if the incidents to be dealt with. Next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be on Sunday for round 6 of the Project Cars DTM event. It'll be 8 PM from Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, so make sure you come and join us for that one. Next up in the Front Row Racing World Series will be 2 weeks today for round 17 from Suzuka, where we'll find out if it is going to be Hindle's turn for bad luck again, or whether we are actually going to finally have a Mercedes v Mercedes on track battle that we've been so poorly robbed of this season. Either way, been an interesting race today and a fantastic result for the Yank and Limey Manor team and their reserve driver Curly Whirly. So thank you to the drivers that made it onto the podium, and thank you to all of those drivers that took part, and commiserations to those who unfortunately did not make it to the end. Also thank you to all of the viewers, and make sure you like, subscribe and come and check us out on Facebook. So this has been the Formula Racing World Series. Thank you as well to my co-commentators. I can't miss them out as well. So thanks, Tem. I nearly did it. So thanks to TempFear and Arazor21. So yeah, this has been Formula Racing World Series. Make sure you come and join us again soon. Thanks for watching.